Sunday against the 49ers was Spencer Rattler's best day as a pro quarterback by far. We're going to break down some video of his three touchdown passes as well as his almost touchdown pass. We're also going to have a conversation about the offensive line and a really, really big problem we have on it. Let's break it down. I'm Tim. Let's talk Saints. In my opinion, and I think in a lot of people's opinion, Sunday was the best day that Spencer Rattler had as a pro quarterback. Did a fantastic job throughout. Showed improvement, I think, from week 1 to week 2. Week 1, I watched through the filtered lens of TV, which is never even close to the same of watching something live. Watching it live, I was impressed. Even told that to somebody in the comments before I got a chance to really watch him on film, thinking, and I think he's going to be even better on film. And he was. Biggest example, one of the reasons why I let off with his, I keep calling it the almost touchdown pass to Olave, is watching it live. Our seats are on the visitor sideline, so we were surrounded by a metric crap ton of 49er fans who basically were agreeing what we thought we saw, which was, it's on Rattler. The pass was a little off or was a little late. But then when you watch the film and you realize it definitely wasn't late, he was anticipating the coverage, where the ball needed to go based on the routes we were running. And that's where he threw it. In the breakdown, we'll go a little further to why it was an almost. And sometimes, and I think it's an example, sometimes it's just a matter of you needed maybe just a little better, or sometimes it's just a matter of not everything quite went the way you needed it to go to get the play that you were this close away from making. There wasn't a whole lot of that. He led the team, he handled pressure, he moved around effectively in the pocket because of said pressure to get balls out. And let me tell you, there's going to be an example in here too where he was trying to complete passes knowing he was going to take one in the mouth and he went ahead and took it anyway. It's all stuff that a quarterback is going to face. And he's going to have to keep getting better. He's going to have to avoid regression, which is going to happen. He will have bad games or bad quarters or bad drives in there somewhere. And it's all about, as Kellen Moore keeps preaching, overcoming adversity, making the adjustments, getting better. There's a foundation there, and I always thought there was. That's why some people take umbrage when I said, "Look, its floor is a backup NFL quarterback." That I think that's cemented. You know, if he can't realize full potential to be an NFL starter, he'll be in the league for a long, long time just for that fact. Look around, there's guys just like that. But with his arm strength and his mobility, it's one of the things that you just keep looking back going, he can handle the other stuff, handle the pressure. So far, he's done that well in 2 weeks. And our offensive line definitely didn't help him this week. Handle some adversity and step up in competition. Happened this week. It was one of the reasons why our offensive line struggled with some pressure issues. That defensive line is a lot better, no disrespect to the Cardinals, than the one we previously faced. And he adjusted to that. He made some tough runs and tough scrambles. Hell, he got knocked all the way into the bench on one of them. And you had two linemen, Banks and McCoy, and that was right there in front of us, that looked like they were ready to take on the whole team to go protect that quarterback. That says a whole lot. It's just giving me goosebumps even thinking back to what I saw. I don't know how it looked on the filtered lens of TV, but live, it was impressive, that reaction going, no, not to our guy, get the F away from him. And we heard stuff like that. We're close enough to hear the players. So overall, he keeps getting better, makes when the adversity hits, and I don't think he's going to have a problem with that. I think he's faced some adversity already and overcome it. Just keep doing that. 15 games to go in the season. A lot can change one way or the other, but just it's trending upward through two, which is not even a quarter of the season yet. I understand that. But if you can keep it going in that direction, because the whole thing on this rebuild is you get this to work, you're going to speed up that timeline and you're going to be able to address other issues on the team that exist. And we're about to get to one on the offensive line after we do Rattler's film review. That'll make him better once you fix those issues. Last thing I will say, scheme, play calling, I felt was a lot better and helped him out a lot with the motions, more play action. Specifically, Juwan Johnson, don't drop the ball. Those 2 drops hurt him bad. Talk about overcoming, didn't even sweat it. But Vele showing up and catching that last touchdown, or Vele, getting those 2 big guys right, make sure we don't have any more drops from our tight end. In chain moving situations to get that 3rd down efficiency up, because I think that's 2 guys along with Alvin who's gonna help you the most in that. That's next on the priority because you fix that problem and he's able to stay on the field. He gets better, the offense gets better, and by the way, that helps save the defense some hassle and some problems. So this is the play that would could have been. Could have been a touchdown, and if we score that touchdown on the opening drive instead of watching Groupie miss a field goal a couple plays later, who knows? It's going to affect the game. That's 100% certain, but who knows exactly how it's going to affect the game, much less the outcome. But for this play, there was a lot of things done right, and we were so close to getting that fast start we needed to jump out ahead of them. Just a couple of things that kind of went wrong right at the end. One of them is blocking. We'll do that even if you pick it up on the film. We'll address that from the end zone view last. But to start the play, we had trips right. We've got Johnson on the left as a tight end, and we put Olave in motion. Prior to the motion, they're set up right now. They're looking at cover two high safety. Part of the reason you motion is because you want to go ahead and see if the defense is going to react. They definitely did. That corner slides out. Now, from this point, they could still be in cover 2. They may be going cover 4. Cover 3 is within the realm of possibilities. However, not likely. Going back to the adage, corners lie, safeties tell the truth. When disguising coverages, safeties typically want to be close to where they're supposed to be once, especially in the zone, once the ball is snapped. No safeties are moving. Rattler's looking pretty much right up at the safeties, trying to figure out, okay, boys, what are you going to do? And they're going back, and at this point, it's cover 4. We have a pretty good play dialed up for it. He's already looking, realizing at the top of the screen on the left, Johnson, he knows, is going to be cutting in. Olave's running basically a go route up into the end zone. And in cover 4, if you can get that safety to slide over and Olave inside of that corner in the end zone, which ultimately is what we did, there's going to be some space back there to drop the ball into. And Rattler's already gearing up for the throw. And he is ready to make the throw at this point. Johnson's in the cut. Safety's got to go with him. Rattler is anticipating that space to be somewhere around where that S is on Saints in the end zone. And right now, Olave's about to put a really good double move on that corner, who gets turned around, and then the turf monster, who was a major factor in this game all day Sunday, gets a hold of him, and he actually slips. And that's going on right now. Olave's made his double move. Corner's twisted. He's about to go down. Olave's going to be wide open. Rattler's already thrown the ball, and he's gunned it. And I think this is just one of those weird things that happens in football because he can't anticipate that Olave is going to corkscrew the corner, who's going to slip on the substandard surface we had going on all day and fall down and be as wide open as he is. So I think that gun was anticipating that corner would likely be on his hip or right behind him. There's the space opening up. Olave's wide open. Johnson has taken that safety completely out of there. So there's going to be no issues from him. And it just a tick behind Olave. He can't quite get around and get hands on it and snatch it out the air. Turns into an incompletion when we were certain, and that's right on our side of the field. That was right in front of me. We were certain we had a touchdown. But at the snap, a little play action. We're good on the right side of our line. Fuaga is doing a great job on both, and he never gets involved in the play. We had a little combo block on the nose guard to make sure he wasn't an issue. McCoy is McCoy. That nose isn't going anywhere. Ruiz is free to do Ruiz stuff. But we're getting bull rushers on our offensive left. But Redun's kind of loses a little bit, slips a little bit, or gets pushed out of there. He comes back and recovers, but that defensive interior player gained a little ground, and now Redun's is losing the battle. So's Banks. And they're both getting pushed back in Rattler. I do not think this affected the throw, but I damn sure know it didn't help. Rattler does a great job realizing I'm probably going to get hit right here and delivering the ball Again, mostly a good pass, just off a little bit. And that's ultimately where it ends up. That's how close you were to getting 6 points right here. Like I said, he doesn't know that corner is going to get twisted and fall. So anticipating what kind of throw is necessary. And even then, it's just a little bit. The only other thing I will say on this, and drop down in the comments, give me what you think he should have done on the throw, and give me what you think on about what I'm about ready to say about Olave. I like Chris Olave. We're expecting him to transition to a number one receiver. For right now, we know about the injury stuff, but that's not the relevant part of the conversation right here. Because to me, if you're going to, and he is going to, first round pick, it's coming up on the terms and talk of extension for number one wide receiver money 20, 25, 30 million, somewhere in there, possibly more, depending on what happens. This is an incredibly hard catch. Do not misunderstand what I'm about ready to say. True number ones who are making that kind of money, they're more likely to come up with it than other receivers, let's say. Chris Olave, and this is the point I'm trying to make here. If you want to even entertain that type of money, that true number one, the stuff Chase and Jefferson are making, you're going to have to make some incredibly difficult off the chain catches somewhere on your resume. This was one of those opportunities. When these come up, and I am not saying, I'm stressing this, I'm not saying he should have caught it. What I am saying is, if he wants to get paid at the upper end of the spectrum for number one receivers, he's got to make some of these catches. That's the way you get paid in the NFL. So let's break down the 3 touchdown passes that Rattler threw after looking at the fourth one he could have had. And on this one, look, before we even start, double kudos here. One to Spencer Rattler for, hey, forgetting about the 2 terrible drops that Juwan Johnson had earlier in the game, and both of them were very, very costly, to come in here and basically making a throw going, we got to make a play. I'm throwing it up where my guy can go get it and make a play. And kudos to Juwan Johnson to forget about the 2 terrible drops he had before that. And when given another opportunity, going out, going up, grabbing that ball, making a play, scoring a touchdown. Trips on the left, Vele, Johnson, and Cooks. Olave, top of your screen on the right. If you notice, Frisco's got all 11 guys basically within 9 yards of the line of scrimmage, pressing our receivers that are on the line, Johnson and Olave. They're really not trying to hide the fact that this is a pressure look. They're bringing pressure. They're going single high safety, who's between the left hash and the left sideline from the offensive side between the right hash and the right sideline. And we're just going to man this up and make a play. And that's pretty much confirmed with the sharp motion. So now nobody's dropping out, nobody's doing anything. They showed us a look and they're sticking with it. To start with the protection, it is really, really good. He's got a clean pocket. He's already looking to the left, and we'll get into what the receivers are doing down there, and realizing he's going to have an opportunity to get a one-on-one downfield on the end zone. That's where he's looking, and it's going to be Juwan Johnson. Now, what you're looking at on about the 13-yard line or so, a little Vele getting in there, a little pick, rub, borderline pass, PI, offensive, but got away with it. And something we utilized a couple more times during the day to good effect. But that clears everything out. Now you have Cooks moving downfield. He's kind of clearing stuff out back towards the middle, but this is setting up the one-on-one because Rattler's already thrown the ball. It is hanging up there right at that front pylon. Defender has no idea the ball's even in the air, much less that Johnson's coming around on it. They try to get physical with each other, and Johnson wins that battle. Does a fantastic job of finding that ball while losing that defender. Good thing they didn't throw a flag on that because you just never know. But they were letting this game be pretty physical most of the game, so thank you referees for not doing something stupid like trying to hit Johnson for a push off. It makes an incredible catch. and does a good job of body control to make sure he cracks that pylon and stays inside the field of play for the touchdown. Touchdown pass number 2 to Rashid Shaheed. We're going to start off with Juwan Johnson in the basically tight slot. He's right next to Fawaga, in between Fawaga and Shaheed. And we did a great job of using short and long motion all game long. I think it was very helpful for Rattler to kind of dissect some stuff pre-snap. And I think a couple of times we managed to do to them what offensively they were doing to our defense, which is able to manipulate some things to really get the player in your favor to make a play. And they do it here because I'm not even sure the guy pressing Shaheed is even aware, and if he is, he doesn't care that he's got a very big body now to his outside. Is at the snap of the ball, pick, rub, whatever you want to call it. Great job by Johnson. Rattler's rolling with the snap out of there. There's good job with protection because nobody was able to shoot in there and disrupt any of this because the point Rattler throws it, there's no way that the DB is going to come up on Shaheed and be able to do anything about it. Makes a nice, strong, perfect pass on the run to give Shaheed that catchable ball on the one because Shaheed's going to take contact. He's not open enough where he gets the backstroke into the end zone, as Jim Henderson once said. The throw is on him. He's able to catch it, turn around, get squared up, and that little bit of contact, no way that they could stop him short of the end zone. Great job by the three principals in that play, which was Johnson on the pick, Shaheed getting the rub part of it right. I'm sorry, Johnson on the rub route, Shaheed getting the rub right and getting out over there quick, and Rattler getting out quick, set up to throw the ball and put it in right on the breadbasket for Shaheed. And then touchdown number 3, great example of how in a goal line situation, you bring in 12 personnel and you have a big bodied wide receiver like Devon Vele to go with. I don't know if you necessarily forced them to basically run goal line D right here with 6 defensive linemen. Your 5 DBs or in linebackers combination you have out there playing man up on the 5 eligible receivers. This is how you can get them in an uncomfortable position where you get a matchup with a bigger, strong receiver like Vele. Very good. Very, very good about getting his body between the ball and defender with 2 hands on it. And once that happens, it's pretty much secure. It's a catch for him. It's what he does. So run off the play action even helps because now this point it's really only going to be a 3 receiver route and 2 of them, that's Johnson and Vele, Johnson on the outside, Vele in the slot, are giving you big bodies. The 2 defenders right about the A and the I on Saints in the end zone, that's Fred Warner for sure. I'm not sure who the other player is on the outside. They're playing run all the way. So now that tells you they're definitely, and it'd have been hard pressed to do in that formation, but there is a world we live in where Warner could have smelled it out and ran to his left to try to intercept what we are actually doing here. But we're making him play 8 in the box basically at that point. Both those guys stepping up on the play fake to Alvin. Great play fake because they bit or at least had to respect it. And now Vele just has to beat his guy to the inside because I think this was the look all along that we were jamming this ball in here to Vele and basically expecting him, hey, you got to beat that smaller guy, get to the inside. The ball's going to be on you and make sure you grab it. And he does just that. And that is a tremendously awesome catch. That's what we brought him in here for, to do exactly that, because especially when you can line them up in the slot like that with Juwan Johnson on the outside. And the fact that Juwan Johnson had caught that touchdown earlier in the game, they're running out of big DBs or big body types to put on big receivers and big tight ends that can catch. So the importance of that first touchdown pass with Juwan Johnson making that hell of a play and putting him on the outside, they're putting coverage on him. They're not going to let him go with one of their, I hate to say lesser cover guys, but one of their lesser cover guys. That's ultimately what we're talking about here. And try to draw that guy on that type of defender on the Vele. Give Vele that opportunity because it's going to be a smaller defender more than likely. chance to beat him one on one on the inside and make a tough catch. Now, talking about the offensive line, it's a conversation, like we're talking about after 2 games. You start seeing stuff. Well, there's some scary stuff that's showing up there that I guarantee you other teams are going to notice. Specifically, the almost touchdown pass. Two of our guys getting bull rushed on the left side. And the thing is when we go through talk about some offensive line play and some PFF grades, Frisco picked up that Banks struggling with the bull rush. They kind of started giving up trying to run around him and do traditional pass rushing. He's handling that and just going, look, let's try to grab a hold of him and push him back into Rattler. So going to be a concern going forward and probably almost definitely hurt his PFF grade somewhat this week. So there's going to be especially a rookie on that side and still Taliesin on the right side. Still got some rookie second year, learning curves to deal with. But I think we're okay there. I think they'll figure it out. They'll get better, and he and the team will have him better prepared for that upcoming bull rush, which I expect to see a lot of on him. Even if they've got to scheme him a little help while he's getting it figured out. So no real concerns there. No concerns about McCoy, but we have a Cesar Ruiz problem. There's no doubt about it. It can't be hidden about anymore, and it needs to be talked about. So just looking, let's go to the PFF grades because again, it gives you kind of a balance what's going on, and you can kind of understand the individual, I think, players, how you kind of wind up with this. But I'm comparing from week 1 to week 2. So Banks, week 1, overall was a 69.1, 58.8 in run block, 74.4 in pass block. Against the 49ers, overall 55, run block 60.5. So that went up a little bit. And then pass block 43.3. And it's a lot of pressure. Again, the bull rush once 49ers kind of figured that out and started doing to him an awful lot. I think had a lot to do with that. Ratings. Overall, week 1, 55 and 55 even. Run grade 50.2. Pass block 79.2. Goes to 60 overall against the 49ers, 58.2 against the run, 60.6 against the pass. And I kind of look at Radens going, he's this guy. Okay. I don't know looking at his film if you're ever going to see him really win big in a run block or win really big in a pass block, but you don't necessarily see him lose huge either. I think he's just kind of steady. You know what you got there. And defenses, if they get the chance, yeah, they'll probably exploit him. But maybe I'm kind of getting the feeling he doesn't have maybe real big holes, but he's not gonna wow you with dominating blocks or being able to pick up hard pressure looks from top pass rushers. So, but so far, I can take this. I can take it being pretty even in that, let's face it, where he's hovering around that C grade, maybe creeping up into the B minus every now and then. I can kind of live with that. McCoy's McCoy. Um, had a great Arizona at 79, 79, and 81, going from overall to pass. A little bit more of a struggle overall, 57.4. That's coming a lot in the run and 55.7 from him. He was still 80.3 pass blocking on Sunday. Again, competition step up and, little surprising he's that low, but again, taking the jump up and still not completely awful with the grades. Fuaga, 41, 34, and 51 against Arizona. Probably a lot to do with the knee issues he was in pain he was trying to fight through because then you look at the 49ers where there was a definite step up in competition. He goes overall 69.8, run 87.1, pass 55.6, still better. But again, Bosa, Huff, and Williams probably a little step up from Josh Sweat and his group from Arizona. No disrespect, Josh Sweat in Arizona. So you're looking at those numbers and going, this is kind of the all over the place. If we can steady it out, I'm gonna say in the style of Ray Dunn's, but hopefully with higher numbers than he's putting up, and hopefully we can get him up a little bit, stabilize that line. It's going to help. Up and down thing. it makes things harder on your quarterback and your running backs. Ruiz problem. That's a huge one. Against the Cards, overall 36.5, 32.3 against the run. Some kind of way 77.5 against the pass, but that may just be a mirage because when you look at Sunday, he did improve to 43.3 overall. He did improve his run to 46.4, and his pass dropped down to 35.7. And in a second, when we wind this up, I'm going to show you the worst run block and the worst pass block that I could find. And I hope that's actually what they are, because if there's any worse than the two I'm going to show you, I freaking don't want to see it. But I think I've had this in the comments. I've had this talk with, some of the Saints fans I know personally. Name Simpkins keeps coming up when the discussion turns to Ruiz. There may need to be a serious conversation in that building. And when you watch these two plays going, I don't know what Simpkins can bring, but I'm pretty sure he's not going to do the two things, one on a pass play, one on a running play, that we're going to take a look at right now. So this is right before the snap. Keep your eye on Ruiz. I've got this slowed down to the slowest possible speed to fully understand what's going on here. But he is looking to his right. He sees Bosa lined up in a three technique. First time he did that on Sunday, and he did it a couple other times, but most of the time Bosa was wide or really, really wide nine on either side of the line of scrimmage. But he's got a rusher outside of him. There is no tight end help here, and the running back is on the opposite side of the formation. At the snap, great job. He's got to pick up Bosa right here because 94 is going to be Fuaga's man. For some reason, I don't know why, he thinks Fuaga can block two guys, one of them being Nick Bosa, because he just turns loose. I don't know what this is. I honestly do not know what this is. Now, Rattler, as he's trying to release the ball, he's got Bosa flashing in on him and then drilling him. This is the type of stuff that earns you a failing grade in PFF and pass blocking. So we're going to try to run Kendre Miller to the offensive right. Keep your eye on Ruiz. As he slides off, he's engaging Nick Bosa. Now, I understand he's their best defensive lineman, and he's really, really, really good. But you're in good shape here, Ruiz, and then all of a sudden, he is just off the block. Like, Ruiz isn't there. Ruiz, I mean, he's beat, and at this point, look who's making the tackle. Kendre's looking to cut it up right there, and he's got big old Nick Bosa in his face. Really nowhere to go. And in failing run grade in PFF is, look, you've got him locked up. You've got to move him out of there. You've got to hold on to him. And I don't mean hold on to him as in holding, but stay engaged, keep fighting through. And it was like all of a sudden Bosa just teleports away from him. And Ruiz has no answer, nothing he can do except watch Bosa run laterally down the line of scrimmage, basically, and stop Kendre Miller. So that's what we have today. To wrap it up real quick, we'll talk about the Seattle game and the road game coming up later in the week, probably Friday or Saturday when that one drops. And I think we're pretty much done with the Frisco game, but looking ahead, this is going to be, I think, the real conversation outside of our play and what we're going to face. But what we're going to face being on the road and especially having to go to Seattle, that's one of the worst places to do it at. We'll test the mettle of this team. And I think it's going to really, really give you an indication of where we are in the rebuild process, where we are along the season, and where we are with Rattler and that offense as their growth continues. This could be a problem, or this could be another jumping off point where you go, we did some good things. And if you roll in there and win the game, then you can start having conversations about other stuff that right now at 0-2 and not being able to pull out one of those two games you needed to, you really can't have right now. So first time here, you like what you saw, please like, share, subscribe, jump in the comments. Already asked you, let me know about the almost touchdown. Ruiz and Simpkins, I fully expect to have some conversations there and some, obviously some talk about Rattler. So lay them on me, see what you got. I'll be looking forward to it. And until I see you next time, I'm Tim. Peace out and who dat.